Live from the Dragon's Lair at the Kalispell, Montana headquarters of Falcor Defense, this is Behind the Flame. Welcome to today's episode, folks. We're super excited and riding the high off of yesterday's episode with Branch Warren. Today in-house, we have co-founder of Wiseman Company and firearms industry media mogul, Noah Alkinburgh. Welcome to the show, Noah, and I'll let John do a more in-depth intro on Noah here in a second, but I got, again, some housekeeping notes as we normally have with every episode. We want to thank the show sponsors that make every episode of Behind the Flame possible. That would be online optics retailer Kenzie's Optics, big friend of Falcor. Anything you guys need for optical devices and accessories for your modern firearm, check out Kenzie's Optics. 221B Tactical, good friend of ours, Suresh Madhavan, his company makes quality gear for the law enforcement officer and the armed citizen. Check them out at 221btactical.com. Mark Bell Slingshot, fitness apparel, and performance gear. Check out those guys for anything you need to get strong. Bang Energy, keeping us fueled here at Falcor. We're super happy with Bang Energy in general. Lots of delicious flavors out there. Check them out. And, of course, Chick-fil-A Kalispell, the only Chick-fil-A in the state of Montana, keeping us fed on the cheat days. There's Wicked Cuts Jerky as well. Wicked Cuts is Branch Warren's brand of delicious jerky products. So check those guys out. We want to thank them all for making every episode of Behind the Flame possible. And with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to John Bartolo, our host.
Sam, as always, great intro.
Thanks, man.
He's got that sexy radio voice, man.
Oh, face for radio, too. At least my mom loves me.
Seriously. We'll go around the horn a little bit here. We got D. Mitchell Designs in here on the production team. What's up? What's up? Of course, Scummins with the intro.
What's up?
Rebel Scummins.
Yep.
We get the new guy, potentially. We'll see if he works out, if he survives the test. And then Haley J. Photo.
Guys, if you haven't checked out her page, make sure you go check out her Instagram.
Check out her page, but the grandma sweater today is definitely detracting. She did comb her hair, though, it looks like. Candace, of course, as always, resident Rogue One. And we're getting into it. All right, buckle up, because this is going to be a good episode. I haven't been, it's hard for me to keep saying how excited I get about certain episodes, but I got a guy on today who I go as far back as I would, and I don't say this a lot, as far back as maybe almost I go in the industry. I'll say about 4 or 5 years, Noah will be safe, right? 4 or 5 years. It's pushing that 50 year almost.
Yeah, probably.
It goes
pretty
back
close.
a minute. Pretty close. We crossed paths, whether it was on the internet or whatever, and we became friendly right away. I couldn't even tell you that's how far back it goes when we exchanged numbers or when we started contacting each other.
It was the freaking 9-day show in Harrisburg.
Yeah, I was in PA. We connected. That was at least 3 years ago, but we had kind of corresponded a little bit before vis-a-vis the internet, liking each other's stuff and kind of following each other's journey. So he's a big PA guy. He's fought for a lot of rights in that state and around that area. I'm always a big fan of my East Coast guys, as everybody knows. I'm always representing the East Coast out here in the Northwest. So I got my Red Sox shirt on today. I'm celebrating our victory, our triumphant victory over LA.
How many rings do they have?
More than everybody else, almost, except for the Yankees and I believe
right,
like St. Louis,
except for
right?
the Yankees. That's right.
Boo. But how many rings do we have in football, and how many does New York have?
Oh, I could care less. I'm a Dallas fan.
How many sports things? Do sports people do sports?
How many sports? So I do want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody on the YouTube as the YouTube starts to flood in. Please, guys, on the YouTube, take a minute to share the YouTube and take a minute to share everything that we're putting up right now. I'd like to get some people in here because we're going to give away some badass prizes. If you follow Wiseman Company, they make some of the coolest EDC stuff out there. Noah's going to talk a lot about how he got into the business, how he got involved in this wacky, crazy world we call the 2A business. That we're all kind of swept in the tornado of. We're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about a lot of things because he's been a huge guy behind the scenes. And I like to think, I like to kind of, tell people all the time that there's inward-facing guys and outward-facing guys. I think it's safe to say at this point I'm an outward-facing guy in the industry. I'm fairly well known at this point around the industry for whatever reasons, good, bad, and ugly.
Noah's been a majority of good reasons, John. You're too hard on yourself, man.
Fuck me. But I like to think that, Noah's been a guy operating behind the scenes, but starting to kind of push out there a little bit, getting pretty well known. I mean, I think everybody kind of knows, hey, where's Noah? It kind of comes up a lot. But we're going to get into some good stuff. So I'm going to turn it over like I always do to my esteemed guest. Take a minute to thank everybody on the floor. Thank Jason and Melinda for paying the bills. But I want to ask Noah, how, and it's a good question for him, how the fuck did you get here?
Well, I took an airplane.
There you go. That's the great answer all the time. How did you get to this point where Wiseman's become the brand that it's become? And I've enjoyed all your products, courtesy of your kindness, and had a chance to look at all of them and spend some time with all of them, and you make fantastic stuff. But how did you get into this business?
So it started with my business partner, Ben Brown, and I. We both worked for one of probably the largest privately owned firearms retailer in the state of Pennsylvania. And we became friends through that, a lot of mutual friends. And then I left for various reasons, and then he left for various reasons. But after I'd left, he and I had stayed in contact. We were sort of talking, trying to figure out some things, and we got together for dinner one evening, just hanging out and talking. And he's like, "Hey, I'm leaving. I want to start this company, and I can't do the stuff that you can do. And I think that you and I could make this happen. What are your thoughts?" And I was at a point where I had been sort of thinking through some of those same things, and was like, "I'm ready to do this." And so we jumped in, and Wiseman Company was born over some fish tacos and some drawings on a napkin.
I mean, could you form a company under better circumstances? I don't think so.
It's amazing the ideas that
Ben,
start on a cocktail
I'm just
napkin.
going to say that Ben was eating the fish tacos. I'm not a fan, but
I'm sorry, what?
I was
You're not
having
a fan
some
of fish
kind
tacos?
of. I was having these freaking fries that had like cheese and
Okay.
bacon and.
That is an acceptable substitute
it
for
was-
fish
it was
tacos.
Pretty awesome.
So you get into this frickin', you had a taste of it at the retail level, but you get into this wacky, zany 2A world, and you start out going to that fucking horrible show in Pennsylvania, the Great American Outdoor Show, which is a 9-day
Dude,
pride.
you gotta cut your teeth at that shit. Come on.
I say this to everybody, for those of you out there listening, if you're on the East Coast, if you've ever made it to a show that is a pride-swallowing siege. It's the 9-day Great American Outdoor Show.
Like how do you do a trade show for 9 days?
I think that business model is antiquated. And
Like what? I mean, even SHOT Show, 9 days. Like everybody talks about how you can't get around SHOT Show. In 9 days, you could get around SHOT Show. This is a freaking farm show complex in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It does not take 9 days to get around this thing.
If you are on the East Coast and you do get the opportunity, please head down to the Great American Outdoor Show. I promise you, it'll be an experience you will never forget. You can buy a bag of pickles, a $5 backpack,
beef jerky,
a cheap knife, and you can probably walk around and see the B team of every company out there. And I'm not knocking anyone who works the show.
No, they don't. It falls so close to SHOT Show. They can't send people. Like they're constantly like, how do you do that for 9 days? How do you send anybody from your company for 9 days? How do you, if you're a small company, that's why a lot of them aren't doing it anymore. How do you shut down your company for 9 days?
That sounds expensive to me.
It's not even that. When you work, and people don't understand the show culture. A lot of people want to get in this business. They're like, I want to get in this business. I want to get in the gun business. I got a guy in here who wants to get in the gun business. And then they go to this show, and you sit in a fucking booth for 9 days in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I promise you by the end of those 9 days, you will test your resolve. You will be tested. You will be asked every question that's possible. So I run into Noah there. He cuts his teeth there.
Well, also, I mean, just to throw this out there, like, it's not like a tactical show whatsoever. Like, it's not like SHOT Show.
I'm not sure it's even a gun show. I'm not even sure it's a gun show. You can buy a boat. You can buy some lures.
Yeah. So there's like I mean, it's an outdoor show. So, but it's like we couldn't even get guys who could field strip a Glock. Like,
needless to say,
Okay,
Haley J.
let's talk
Photo's
about
not
that for
getting
a
us
second.
Sorels there.
There are probably less people than you think that can actually disassemble, field strip a Glock and put it back together. I'm just saying. I mean, unless you've done it. I'm just saying.
maybe.
We're spending a lot of time on this show because I'm trying to inform the listeners just what the gun business is all about. And there's a lot of those shows like that. Not all of them are 9 days long, but I promise you in every industry there's a show that, Sam used the term, you're going to cut your teeth in. And that is a show you definitely will cut your teeth in. So that...
Well, it's a consumer show too. It's not like a wholesaler show or a show where
everybody
major
wants
business is done.
Yeah. If I buy 4 of them right now, I can get like one for free or.
Oh yeah.
What's your show deal?
He's got any free stuff?
You get any stickers or patches?
Oh gosh, those are the worst. Like the guys that come around with the carts.
No, yeah.
So after you do your 5 days or whatever it is at SHOT that you're in Vegas, about a month later, if you're ever blessed in this business to go do the 9-day Great American Outdoor Show, to all of you out there listening, buckle up.
Falcor Defense will not be.
And it's guaranteed. It's Pennsylvania in February. It's guaranteed to be 1 day of blizzard.
And there's like 4 restaurants in the area that you go to, and it's like getting there is like you need to be driving a plow. So and if you've ever lived in the Northeast or anywhere on the East Coast, we don't get cold, we get frozen. We get ice, and everything freezes. So if you get it on a bad run, it can go real bad real quick. But anyway, this guy is super keen to what's going on in the media out there. He pays attention to everything. He's got his hand in just about a whole slew of different projects. I mean, can you talk about some of the projects you get your hands in now? Can you give us some insight? I know you were giving us in the other room.
I mean, sure. We have the Wiseman Company, which is sort of the front that a lot of people see. You see Ben a lot on that. We have the YouTube channel, which if you're not subscribed to that, you guys should head over to our YouTube channel. We're just about to break that 10,000 subscriber mark, so that's a big thing for us. Recently, we signed on with guns.com to be contributors for them, so we're doing a lot of production for those guys. We're really excited. They've been really good to us, giving us some really neat opportunities. And then the side that a lot of people don't see is the media side of Wiseman Company. And so we do a lot of social media management, video creation, photography, content stuff for other companies. And so we're about to rebrand some of that for the Pine Tree Riot Media Group. And so PTR Media Group on Instagram. And that's a little bit more of our media stuff, a new website launch coming soon. I don't have an exact date for that, but we're pretty excited about that to sort of separate the retail and business end from Wiseman Company and then the media stuff that we do. So,
Yep, page is up. PTR Media Group. Check it out, guys. If you're watching, please
yeah, you'll see that
share that.
there's gun stuff on there, but you'll see it's a little bit more. It's
Yeah,
just sort
Well,
of.
it looks badass. Frank, my guys, my brokers out there, please give this a share. Get some people over there. Let's help him out. PTR Media Group.
Can I say that I feel like there's a community that is being built in the comment sections of all our shows, and I love it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I recognize
no.
a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Semi-Auto Kid, some of you guys, Daryl. If you can help this guy out, send him a bone here. PTR Media Group. He's going to put some cool stuff up. We appreciate it. I'm going to give it a follow right after the show.
36 followers.
He's at 36. He just got it rolling. So 9 posts. He's in the virginal
Oh yeah,
stages.
So
The virginal.
Yeah, and we're rolling stuff out on that. That's going to be more. You'll see more of the media side. It's not all going to be gun stuff over there. You'll see some other stuff there.
Thanks, Frank, for the share. We appreciate it. So try to send some people over there. Let's give them a push. And we appreciate all the Freedom Brokers, you guys. We'll get you guys a prize out there. So you start this company, and you talked in the other room, and it was a great story. And I think you should share it with everybody. I think it'll endear them a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about how the logo got started.
Sure. So there is a lot of history in the logo, and again, you're gonna hear me talk a lot about Ben. Ben's a big part of this. You see him as the front. Like you said, I'm a lot more behind the scenes. Usually, I'm doing stuff that Sam and Derek over there are doing, but the history that's involved with the logo is
pulling it
pretty
up right
important, and it's the pine tree and 2 stars. And so the pine tree comes from the Pine Tree Riots, which happened in New Hampshire. They were a precursor to the Boston Tea Party. It was one of the very first conflicts in the leading up to the Revolutionary War. And that guy in that shirt. That's a good-looking guy there on the website.
Look at the nips.
It was. I think I took that like in January. Like it was one of those days there was no, so it was so cold outside.
You were nipping.
And Haley can appreciate this. I've taken photos of myself. You have no idea how hard it is to set up a camera and take photos of yourself. But, anyways, the logo comes from the Pine Tree Riots in New Hampshire. There was the hash marks that make up what we now see as the arrows that mark like the King's Highway and we use for the interstate system. It was 3 hash marks on a tree, and that marked those trees as belonging to the king, and nobody could use them.
I guess you can't be a true patriot unless you can trace your origins all the way back to New England, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And
I mean, the U.S. didn't start in California. I'm just saying.
well, I don't know that California is in the U.S. now, but
That's a whole other conversation.
It's a separate podcast.
You can have that one of these days.
Tune in next week.
So, and there were 3 sawmills in New Hampshire that just cut down trees and used them anyways.
Hell yeah.
The tax collector came in, found the trees, tried to tell them that they need to pay the taxes and the fines. They were having none of it. They tarred and feathered him, tarred and feathered his horse. They cut his horse's mane off.
Poor horse.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, they were really cruel to the horse and him. Put him on his horse, tied him to it, and like sent him out of town.
Where was PETA?
Well, that tax collector is culpable. But man, that horse, come on.
He comes back with soldiers. They throw everybody that worked at the mills in prison. Two of the mills capitulate pretty quick, pay the fines, and then one of them holds out for a little while, and it was called the Pine Tree Riots. And so there's a little bit of that in there, and it's sort of our like subtle way of being, like down with the king, down with the government,
Down with the sickness.
down with the kind of our way of thumbing our nose a little bit. And then the 2 stars, a lot of people do think that that's Ben and I, and it actually is also the history. Oh, and also the tree was on George Washington's Appeal to Heaven flag that he flew, and so that was another big part of it. And then the 2 stars actually represent the state of Pennsylvania, which does mean a lot to Ben and I. Pennsylvania was the second state to ratify the Constitution and therefore became the second state in the Union. And so that's what the 2 stars represent in our logo.
It's badass. It's pretty badass, to be honest with you. It makes it actually, after hearing that story, I know you've given me like a sweatshirt and a T-shirt in the past. It makes me want to wear the logo more.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, honestly, that's one of the things we do get complimented on a lot.
I'm gonna shamelessly plug a couple things because I know you're a good guy and you don't roll like that. We all have the wallet here. I fucking love the wallet. The wallet is the absolute balls. Yep. Simple.
This is one of the very first ones. You can't even get one of these. It's in different
limited edition.
Yeah. It's not even anodized. It's actually powder coated.
Oh.
The fat wallet.
Yeah, the fat wallet.
Nice.
Yep.
It is badass. If you go to their website, they do have some stuff that'll really. I've had the crate. The crate is the absolute balls. I have the crate still. It actually works very well by my bed. It's slick. If you have the opportunity to check out their website, they have some very cool EDC stuff. I know he's expanding the line, and to all you folks that support them and support the line, they have some great stuff coming. They're always working on new, exciting stuff.
So we have that new shirt too, the Pine Tree Riot shirts. So, and that's actually a collaboration with our good friend Chris Moon over at Lunar Concepts. So if you'll see the little crescent moon flying over the tree, and that represents Lunar Concepts.
I need to get one of those crates of wrath.
Yeah,
That
they're
thing
awesome.
is slick.
We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cool stuff. Check him out. If you get on the website, guys, to everybody that's tuning in and scrolling through, please check it out. Show them some traffic love.
Yeah, if you want one of those for Christmas, you better get in an order for that now,
Right
because those
now.
are custom made. They take about 8 weeks. So
Sick.
So if you guys have read the Art of Manliness blog, are you familiar with them? There's an article that has been going around for a while. It's one of their older posts about how every man should have a treasure chest. My dad had one. My grandfather's had one. I have a couple things that once I get a good box, I'm gonna.
So
add 'em
if
in
you
there.
if you read the description, when we designed that, when Ben and I put that together, the concept was your grandmother's hope chest meets your grandfather's war chest.
Boom.
Boom. I like the dual guns in there. There's a couple watches in there making people look civil. I appreciate it. It's some pretty badass stuff, guys. I can't stress enough. I've always been in love with what Wiseman Company does, what Lunar does, and I use pretty much everything.
It's the East Coast connection, bro.
Something to be said about the East Coast. We actually have a soul on the East Coast.
Whatever your heart was, John.
Ooh. So use the promo code John for 10% off. I don't know, Frank, that might not work.
Not John. I think you do have a code.
I
for
do
us,
have a code.
So I think it's. I actually think it's Bartolo.
Bartolo might be a code. Bartolo 10, something like that.
I think that's it. I think
Yeah, I think
I
it's
might be able to
Bartolo
look it
10.
up.
We'll look it up. We'll get you the code. There is a code somewhere. I have
Affiliate
I have
marketing
quite
in action.
I have quite a few codes spread out across the interwebs. So we're going to take a minute while he's looking up the code. I want to get into a couple different things with you because your media knowledge is tremendous. And one of the beauties of having you out here was getting you to see the facility, go through the process, have the tour. I know you know the firearms and you've used them in the past. You are a guy who I feel has similar insights that I have into the market and into where the market's going and kind of where we were, where we are, where I think we're trying to be as a community. So you've had the tour, you've seen the facility. What do you think of Falcor as a whole?
Well, I mean, Falcor has always been what I think is one of the pinnacle of the small personal firearms manufacturers out there. You're not a juggernaut in the sense of you're not a Glock, you're not a Sig Sauer or anything like that.
Nope.
But you guys are innovative. You're doing something that's different. You're not doing the same thing. And I think that since you've come on board here, and Jason and Melinda have been great in being forward thinkers and allowing you to sort of take some of that. I mean, CNC machines are CNC machines, whether you're in the United States. I just got back from an amazing company in Europe and got a chance to see how they're making firearms over there. Engineers, but the thought process that goes into things and the willingness to press those boundaries and try and step outside of that rigidity that we live in sometimes in the firearms industry. And I think that's what Falkor is really, really stepping up to the plate with right now. And I'm excited to see where that's going. The new lineups that you've brought, doing things like the Standard, the Blitz 2.0, hopefully someday maybe a 6.5 Grendel. I've been pushing John.
Those of you that visited us at the NRA show, you did see the Gremlin. That rifle, that product is happening. The Draco's barrel development project on that is actually going into a second generation, so we're keeping that to be the best it possibly can be. That's the only reason why you don't see it yet, man. All right, just hold your horses.
I've just been pushing John for about a little over a year now for a Falkor.
Well, you got lucky, so it could be coming. But no, I think it's well said. I think you have some insight into the marketplace and kind of what's going on and what's out there. And I really have through the years picked your brain, and you mentioned something that was true. I mean, we were talking about some of these concepts and some of these media concepts and some of these different things frickin' 4 years ago. And it is nice to hear you say, wow, it's cool to see you kind of putting some of these plans into action. And for those of you that watch and pay attention and have seen a little bit of my journey and Noah's kind of lived with me through it, a lot of these ideas, we're getting my code. My coupon code is Bartolo, so just use my last name, Frank, Bartolo. It's Italian.
It is a capital B.
It is a capital B.
It's really Italian.
It's Italian. So putting some of these concepts into play and putting some of these things, to work, it's been a passion project for me. And there's a lot of people that don't fully understand what we're trying to do as a community and what we're trying to do as a group. And I say it over and over and over again, and I've said it on this podcast. This is not only about Falkor, but it's about a greater good. We are not going to grow this community by using the old way of thinking. We are not going to expand this community by using the old way of thinking. I tell my people all the time, I get tired of seeing the same tired stuff. It needs to be different. It needs to be dynamic. It needs to be inclusive. And I know Noah's with me on this, so this is why I'm bringing it up. I am sick and tired of seeing industry gatekeepers and people that say, you're in, you're out, you have the right patch, you don't, you're the right this, you're not. This is
a background. You don't.
Whatever the fuck you cling to. I don't care. Let me say that again. I don't care. If we're going to be successful as a team and as a movement, you better get inclusive really fucking quick. Because there's a lot of gun store owners, families, husbands, wives, people, Americans, that would like to sell more guns. So stop with the mentality of this person can have a gun and that person can't. This person's more tactical and that person isn't. This person is more something and that person isn't. Would you like to sell more products?
Sure.
If you could market a certain way and sell more products, would you?
Probably.
Probably. Be open is all I'm saying. Be open. Be inclusive. So it leads to my next question. What do you think of social media as it pertains to the gun industry and the evolution of media in the gun industry?
So I mean, social media is great for what it is. Social, unfortunately, I think it often is not. I think that's maybe a horrible word for it.
It's true.
I have met some amazing people, and I think that the internet in general has done amazing things. I predate a lot of social media. I mean, I remember when you still got on bulletin board systems to do things, and I was part of a lot of forums in woodworking a long time ago, and I met some great people through that. And Instagram has allowed me to meet some really cool people like Embrace the Recoil, Ryan out in Michigan, and a lot of those guys. And even in meeting you. That was through, you following my Instagram, which I was like, oh man, this guy's got like 100,000 followers and he just followed my page. Like, this is so cool. And so I think that there's a lot of good things, but I think that there's a lot of just this ability to not have consequences for what you say that is out there. The ability to hide behind the screen and say whatever you want about anybody without thinking about what you're saying.
Well, it's very similar to what Branch Warren's opinion was yesterday.
Very similar to a lot of opinions of folks we have on. It's weird. I wonder who's in the minority.
This concept that it used to be if you said something to somebody, like they might punch you in the mouth for that. So you have to be ready for the fact that you might lose a tooth if you're going to be a dick to somebody. Mm-hmm. And today, I can do anything I want. And there's so many children, whether they're 30-year-old children or 12-year-old children, who have never been taught or have ever had a consequence on how to interact with someone. And their whole interaction in life is through...
Yep.
And they don't understand that there are consequences for words.
Yep.
And then on the flip side of that...
It could mean someone doesn't want to do business with you down the road. It could mean any sort of consequences. There still are nowadays. People just don't consider it.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, I think that there's an awful lot of thin-skinned people who take it a little bit too seriously.
That's a good point.
And I said the other day, and it's known, especially as it pertains to Instagram, it's kind of like I'll say this, I'll put a picture up, and I'm gonna, a faceless page or whatever, and I'll say something about somebody, and like to your point, Noah, it's like, well, there's no consequence, and I really don't give a shit, and I'm just gonna say this about this person. I have a standing invite out there. Come on the podcast, and why don't you tell me exactly what you think, because if you know so much about whatever it's what we're doing or me or whatever, come on.
Come on out.
You're invited. Yeah. Come on down. I'll give you the mic.
We'll put you up.
I'll warn you. You will be known after that.
Yeah.
But don't talk to me about how big your fucking balls are. And then you do that. You get, that put in front of you and you say, oh, no. Do that.
I see out there a lot of folks are very critical of folks that are of individuals that are in positions of influence and authority within the industry because they work to get there, and they're like, well, how did so and so get that job? Because he worked harder than you.
Well, another thing,
and he was willing to change things and experiment and find the right way to do it that's the most effective, and do something different enough that he stood out at that point.
Yeah. And another thing that I found too is, like, I didn't ask for your opinion. Like, yeah, my stuff is public, but I didn't ask you to critique me. I didn't ask you for your opinion. So I have a friend, Chris Moon. He's like, what this is the equivalent. Like, these people get on. It's the equivalent of public masturbation. They just want to like fly their stuff out there, mm-hmm. like, and they're always just out there because they think that they. Like, I don't care.
Sometimes they don't expect to be confronted with opposition to their opinion too, because for so long they've been either inside an echo chamber or only considering their opinion with themselves. Versus, when they share it out there, someone might be like, "I don't agree with you, and you're a freaking retard because of it."
I've said it a million times. We'll kind of wrap on that topic with this, and I think you'll agree with me, Noah. I'll get your thoughts. Be very careful out there. To the people listening now on YouTube and to the folks out on the interwebs that listen to this, be very careful. Who you hit follow on and who you watch and who you pay attention to influences you. If you follow a page that's funny, you'll laugh more. I laugh when I follow some pages. I laugh at Haley J. Photos page. If you follow pages that make you sad, you'll probably be sad more. If you follow, those dog pages, I talk about it on here, they get me every time. Every fucking time with those dogs. The dog had broken legs. The dog fell down a flight of stairs. The owner treated it cruel, whatever the fuck. I sit there, I got tears streaming down my face. They're like, what are you watching? I'm like an ASPCA commercial.
You've got that song playing in your head. What's her name?
God, Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah, yeah.
Every time. So here's the thing. Pay attention to who you hit like on and who you follow. Because we idolize false gods and we pay attention to false media and we endorse it by hitting like. Have some awareness. Pay attention. I go through, I'm unfollowing motherfuckers like crazy on my page. And I'm unfollowing them because I just don't want to see it anymore. You hate the gun bunnies? Don't follow them.
Solve that problem real easy. Just
unfollow. You don't like seeing people in shape because you're fat and disgusting? Don't follow them.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how that follow button works.
Yeah.
And unfollow.
You don't like the products Wiseman Company makes? Don't follow them.
Don't buy their stuff.
No. Yeah, don't. Seriously, don't. If you don't like it, don't. Like,
You know?
I don't need you as a customer.
But I'd like to know why.
But
you don't
if
like
you're
it.
here in this community and you're here to support
There you go.
and you're here to help, pay attention.
Yeah. Boom.
Pay attention. There's a photo. I'm getting critiqued by Branch Warren. He likes to give me
I'm
shit.
so turned on right
I'm
now.
turned on.
Follow.
So, speaking
Follow,
of unfollow,
follow. Mash the
Yeah.
follow button.
So, the fitness thing's funny because you have a fitness background. We'll get into that quick. The fitness thing's funny.
I told Haley that she should have told you she didn't bring her Zoom lens.
But
So I will post that photo because I have no shame in that photo because I enjoy weight training and I enjoy working out. It's an extension of my training. It's an extension of training. And I have the opportunity to go to the gym and train with someone who I consider a subject matter expert. And Branch was in town, and if I can get a chance to have him critique me and give me some advice on the direction I should go in, you fucking ain't right, I'm gonna take it. Just like if I had Dom Rosso here, I'm gonna have Dom give me advice. Just like if I had one of the Gracies here, I'm going to take their advice. If I have Noah here, I'm going to take some of his advice on media. Everybody needs to seek out SMEs. I have absolutely zero shame in that. None. But I think what gets lost in translation sometimes, and I think this is a fair statement, Noah, I think a lot of people don't fully understand in media what it means to be open, inclusive, and follow and understand the content that they're seeing. Instead, they just, and it's a Joe Rogan thing, not me, they say, why not me? Why not me? He has a company, why can't I? Noah's not tactical enough. He shouldn't have a company. Wah, wah, wah.
Absolutely.
How about this? Go have some fish tacos with a buddy, draw it up on a cocktail napkin, and start it.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like when these guys are saying stuff like, come on, like, what are you doing? Where's your company? Why do you have a blocked page? You have 13 posts on your Instagram and you're going to tell me what I should post? Or YouTube is notorious for this. Like, oh, you guys should never make another video again. You're doing it all wrong. You're blah. I don't see your videos.
if you had a channel that had several million subscribers and regular content posted, bi-weekly or more, and were a respected, vetted member of that community, then I'd be like, cool, your opinion holds more weight with me because of the fact that your reputation precedes you. But the fact that you're hiding behind a private profile that has 12 followers and probably no content posted, whatever you have to say means nothing.
And you don't know what it's like until you put yourself out there. Like, it's easy to criticize someone when you're not putting yourself out to be criticized. And the other thing that I found is that those guys who have those, lots of followers, you know what they do? They shoot you a message in private and say, "Hey,
I have
this.
a question about that."
Or I saw this, really liked this. Just wanted to say maybe you want to look at this."
And
Little Socratic method there.
yeah, and I really want to move on beyond this point, but you got me a little fired up about one thing because you hit the nail on the head, Noah. That's why we get along so well. And you know my story through the years. It's amazing to me, the people that have talked shit or said whatever. It amazes me. Well, I guess it doesn't. And I'll get to why it doesn't. that I go to these shows, you see those people, and they walk right fucking by you. And I've said this as a standing order. Ask any one of them. Have you met John? Do you know him? Do you know anything about him? More often than not, the answer is no. Well, have you approached him at a show and said something? No. Well, I'm not going to say I don't understand that, because I think when people do see me at a show or see me somewhere, they say, geez, he's a little taller than I thought. He's a little bigger than I thought. Oh, shit.
I get that all the time.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that training is for real, and maybe their butthole puckers a little bit and they think a little twice about it. I can't blame them for that. I can't say I would eagerly roll up on someone my size and background or whatever and want to just say, hey, you fucking suck. I'm not sure that might end well.
No, because, again, it goes back to consequence. You might get punched in the mouth for that.
Maybe.
But it takes a lot more to stand face to face to somebody and say that.
I'd respect you more. I'll put it that way. I'd
sure.
respect you more.
Yeah.
And I've had phone conversations and behind the scenes stuff with people I've had problems with. And I've said my piece to them. And I say, you know where to find me. I have a fucking booth. I'm not hiding. Moving on. And I'm glad we see eye to eye on some of the ups and downs of media, but I think you're going to have a very hard time having a guy from Boston bow down to pretty much anybody. Be a long, cold winter
Except
before
for the
that
Yankees.
happens. Ooh, it's cold. Anyway, who inspires you on social media or otherwise? Who do you pay attention to?
So I actually follow a lot of people outside of the firearms industry. I think I get a lot of inspiration from that. But inside, some of the photography people, Danny Choi, Gun DMC. If you're not following Gun DMC on Instagram, he takes amazing photos. A lot of those guys, it's like the Asian mafia out there. Trauma RN, Danny Choi, those guys, Last Line of Defense. Like, those guys are pretty amazing what they're doing out there in the Pacific Northwest. The whole Peter McKinnon crew from YouTube.
I was going to say that, him and Casey Neistat.
Yeah, Casey really revolutionized a lot of stuff for me. Like, he kind of got me when we were doing stuff. But Peter just has a real personable way about him. And honestly, on the Instagram side, outside of YouTube, one of his boys, Jesse Driftwood, on Instagram, like, he just does stories better than anybody on Instagram. And so those guys really have inspired me to, like, step up my game in production, in how I take photos. I've told Danny flat out, like, I totally steal his ideas. Like, I look at his photos and I'm like, I tag him in. This is my homage to Danny, to Gun DMC, because I'm stealing his ideas. But I think I really, for me, outside of the shooting, that's really my passion, the photography, the video. And so those guys are people that I look up to. And in the industry, there's a lot of guys. But I'm always looking for, I tend to stay with the smaller people. Greg from Neomag is a good friend. We've created a good friendship.
Good folks over there at Neomag.
And like I said, I mentioned Ryan from Embrace the Recoil, Drew Hopkins, and through him got a chance to meet Lucas with T-Rex. I like a lot of stuff that Lucas does. I know he's got a bad rap about some things, and he and I don't always see eye to eye on stuff, but he's one of those guys that I do give him props for being out there and for some of the stuff that he does talk about. He's a good dude. So, guys that are putting themselves out there, all of them inspire me. But again, going back to the media, also Jason Demo, his stuff is really amazing. Amazing photographer. So, yeah.
Jason's a good guy. There's so many people that you can draw influence from. You named so many different areas and so many different spaces, and I think it's awesome and refreshing to hear another guy around this business that's drawing inspiration from some similar areas where we do, and also looking outside the box Now, when you get into designing these products and getting your hands on these products, and whether it's the wallet or the different things that you're putting on the website, what's your process for that? I know a lot of it ends up on YouTube, so a lot of it's out there. You do put a lot of it out there. But I know you and Ben spend a lot of time kind of looking at things and kind of looking at what the marketplace needs. I don't want you to get into the secret sauce of what you're looking at next, but give me an example, kind of walk me
I'll tell
through.
I'll tell you right now, my secret sauce, Wiseman's secret sauce for that is Ben. Like flat out. He has his finger on the pulse of the industry, unlike really almost anyone I've ever met. He immerses himself in it. He's out there. He's thinking about things. He's trying to, push that envelope. We have some new products he's been tinkering with for a while. He's open to suggestions and things, but he'll come and he'll have some rough drawings and sketches, and we'll go to our designer and we'll work on some things, and then we go from there and we talk about how we're now going to name that, create that, put it out there, and market it. And I know a lot of people say don't go into a business with another person. Don't have a partner. Like if you're going to go into business, do it on your own. And I can tell you right now, and I'm pretty sure that Ben would agree with me, that Wiseman Company wouldn't function the way it does without each of us. We both bring something to the table that the other person does not have. And while we can get in arguments over things or fight over things, we have a good working relationship. And because of what he can envision and then what we can, put out there, things happen. And so you need to find yourself a Ben. That's your secret sauce.
I don't fully agree with that you can't have partners, but I know what you're saying. I think you can, but I look at many ways as when we're in the building as Jason and I as partners in a lot of the things we do here and the way that we do them. I think you have to know when, you got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. And you got to know what that person's trigger points are and when you need some time apart. And anytime you work closely with anybody, because I've probably lashed out or had a fit with everybody in here at one point or another. But I think it's about, temperament and patience and understanding those different things. So I think you and Ben do a great job of managing that and managing the expectation of the partnership. And I think that that's a lot of what goes into having a good partner.
Yeah, and I think also, too, like one of the great things about having the both of us is, there's things that I'm more passionate about and there's things that he's more passionate about. And we're able to combine those things. And pull that together, and so.
And I think it's fair to say a lot of people sit down and draw up the idea on a cocktail napkin, like you're talking about, and they get fixated on the idea wagon, and that's good. But I think you have to sit down every now and then, and that's why you create a business plan and kind of reaffirm the relationship. Kind of what is it that you do? What is it that I do? Okay, maybe it's not stated in that way, but you kind of do that every year as you sit down and you have that Christmas party or that Thanksgiving dinner, and you say, where are we? Where do we want to be? What do you want to focus on next year? What do I want to focus on? And what's my passion? Well, I love the media side and the photos, and I love the design side. And stay in your lane. I mean, it's the most overused term in our business. Stay in your lane. Come together with the ideas. Hey, this is the best way to take this to market. This is the best way to do this. This is the best way to do that. People would laugh at what I spend a majority of my time doing here. It's looking at budgets. It's looking at finances. It's looking at things that we're expanding into, looking at the ability to expand into more SKUs and do it successfully, and how to take a product to market. People think, I don't know, I was watching social media or what the fuck it is. They think like what I do here is like just run around and shoot guns.
I get that all the time. Like they think that like I just got a message from a buddy that that Ben and I both worked with at the gun shop, and he's like, "Man, you're living my dream life," because I'm posting pictures of me and Branch, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but I'm working. Like I'm here working. I'm on the phone like updating inventory while I'm here. They don't see the fact that I'm the guy that has to cut down all the cardboard boxes, and I have to make sure before I left that I ordered envelopes for shipping, because I realized, oh crap, when I get back, like I'm going to have orders and I'm not going to be able to send all these, and I got to make sure there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes. And I've gotten messages from customers, it's shameful that you're out there just fooling around on the range when you have orders that haven't been filled. What you don't realize is that I filmed that a week ago. Like, I'm not out there every day. I film and, get content.
If you have an issue with the way that he runs his business, feel free to not patronize his business. That's all I gotta say.
I love firing customers.
Or trying to understand better what it is that they're actually doing.
Social media though.
Derek's got a good point.
Talking
Go ahead and
to
say
the
that.
mic
Say
if
it,
you're
Derek.
gonna do
Say what you gotta
applause.
say. Say what you want to do.
I don't know if I can do both at once. I was talking about like just the veil of social media, right? Like you can post things that were a month old. recycle.
Exactly.
Or we get in trouble for geotagging something, right?
Yeah.
You weren't really there. That
Oh,
photo.
man.
Haley got
had a
lit up
big
for
thing
that
with
one.
geotagging.
She geotagged someplace and she got hate mail for it because it wasn't the real place.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You did not take that picture in Phuket, Thailand. You did not do that.
Oh my god. I'm blown away by some of the. That's the first. Fuck me. But anyway, I think that's all well said, and I think people don't understand what goes into running a business.
Just shout out to Diesel 308 here. Yeah, PA leads the way. Rock on, buddy.
PA leads the way.
Also,
That hashtag is, I'm going to give it a little shout out to Rockwell Tactical. It's a great training group in Pennsylvania. They're a little ways from us, and he started that hashtag. If you've ever seen, I have a shirt. It looks like it's the state of Pennsylvania, but it says front towards enemy. It looks like a Claymore mine.
that's cool.
That's his shirt. It was freaking genius. I wish we'd thought of it. But those are good dudes to train with. He started that hashtag, and yeah, we are trying very hard to bring some of what you see out of the Pacific Northwest right now back to Pennsylvania. There's no reason that Pennsylvania shouldn't be the East Coast's shooting destination.
sure.
Jared
Also,
Jared is awesome. That's Rockwell Tactical.
Yep.
There you go.
So anyway, a couple other comments. Frank, I know he likes Boston. Absolutely, I do. And Frank, if you, I know you're joking, but if you want to challenge me at one of the shows or when you do run into me, Frank, I highly don't recommend that. Probably be bad for your health. But by all means, to anybody out there, we appreciate you guys on YouTube, especially you, Frank. You've been great, and some of you guys, Daryl, appreciate it. Semi-Auto Kid, keep it coming. We want to keep getting great guests on, and Noah's tremendous, and I'm excited to have him. And thank you all for the well wishes and the support. So, in closing the book on social media or media in general, where do you see it all going, and how do you see it playing out?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, all of these social media companies are run by people who really don't want our industry as part of it. And so they're constantly finding ways. Wiseman Company was just shadow banned. We weren't showing up in any of our hashtags. Honestly, I haven't even had a chance to see if that's cleared up yet. Like, they're always finding ways, especially leading up into this this last election. Like, there's a lot of things, and unfortunately, there's a lot of politics. You can't get away from it. It's tough.
This is why we need each other.
And yeah, and just like Ben will always say, like, right now, like, go buy SBA 3 stocks, because I mean, I didn't say stocks.
Braces.
I didn't say that. Go buy
didn't hear
SBA 3
anything.
pistol braces. Because once you have them, you can't roll it back. You want to protest, spend your money on stuff,
Buy a lot of them.
and because once it's out there, like, you don't get it back.
Yep.
And
I don't know why anyone's doing Form 1s anymore with that
And-
product on the market.
so unfortunately, there's always going to be something new. So you need to be watching for that. Instagram is trying to, go away from what they started as their roots. And, I think that it's already started to be like the old person platform. Snapchat has taken over. Nobody in the firearms industry has figured out a way to leverage Snapchat well that I'm aware of. I've been trying to figure out a way to do it. It's tougher because it's so instantaneous. It would be, the person that figures that out is gonna probably be the next big thing in our industry.
Gary Vee and Sean Duras.
Oh yeah, I mean,
talking about gun industry
yeah,
specifically.
I'm talking about gun industry
I
specific,
as far
but
as a platform, though.
yeah, I mean, they're using it like and that's what the kids are on, and that's the next, that's where the next,
Evolution.
well, and they're going to be the next consumers, right?
Oh, I mean, are you talking about Twitch?
Well, Twitch is another one. Like I have seen some guys that are using that well, but Snapchat. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Snapchat is tough, but Twitch has potential.
Yes, Frank, Snapchat is very much still a thing. Extremely still a thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
IG Stories took a bite into it, but I think Snapchat's reviving itself and figuring it out. I think YouTube has a lot of room to grow and to become. I know the Demolition Boys done a good job on YouTube with some stuff. They're in a lot of different spaces in the way that they're doing things, and they're doing more of the zany stuff and fun stuff. And they do it well.
And the great thing about YouTube is that, unlike any other platform, YouTube lives on.
Yeah, I mean,
It's sticky. It's sticky media.
Yeah, and I think Tim from Military Arms does it very well. I've always enjoyed Tim's reviews. I think that you guys do a good job on there. If you haven't checked out Wiseman Company on YouTube, they do a fantastic job. I've looked at a lot of their stuff.
Subscribe,
for
share,
sure.
favorite, subscribe.
But as we start to close, and believe it or not, we've been on for 50 minutes. It's crazy. You and I mean, I know I say this with every guest. I could go for 9 hours. You have kind of really entrenched yourself in this business, and you've been to the shows, and you've been around, and you've spent enough time, around this brand and around us. What do you think of the 2A business as a whole and supporting the community? Because I know that's a huge passion play for you guys down in PA.
Oh, it's really big for us, and the thing that frustrates me the most is how so many people in this community, they're not a community. They're so stuck on themselves or so stuck in their world that they refuse to be able to recognize that there might be something outside of where they are. Whether it's the guys who, you should only have an AR, or it's the guys who, you don't need an AR, you only need a good hunting rifle. Like, I like hunting rifles. I like ARs. Like, why can't you understand that just because you are doing this, like, we both want the same thing. We both want the same thing.
There's still too much infighting in the community.
It's unfortunate. I don't see a lot of collaboration. Everybody thinks that they need to be so secret about everything and keep everything, play their cards close to the vest, or they need to see what you're going to give them. What am I going to get out of this? And yes, there needs to be, like I said earlier, when we were talking before we came in here, I need to make money. I have bills I have to pay. I have a family I need to support. But I'm going to give you as much as I can, and hopefully you found some value in that. And that's where I'm going to make my money. And unfortunately, this community doesn't have, I think, enough people who want to bring new value to anything. They think that what they have is already good enough, and that now you should just do it my way, or there's the door. Yeah. And it's unfortunate.
Gatekeeper mentality.
It's unfortunate. It's the dusty boots and buckles.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you get when you.
That's the term I use the most. The industry is rife with dusty buckle and boot guys that, they're like, well, I have a concealed carry permit. I'm going to carry a gun, and you know what? That's good enough for me, and I don't need anything else. Yeah. And we've said it over and over again. If somebody wants to go out and buy a crate of Wrath and have a very cool hope chest, or have any other product out there on the market, go buy it. Support the companies you believe in and the direction companies are going in. But stop getting mad at people for creating and innovating and developing. Stop getting mad at the growth of the industry, because you start getting mad at that and you start pointing the finger and say, he's in, he's out, that's good enough, that isn't. that's when you see retraction, and that's when you see regression in a community. And I love what I love about fitness, and I know you have a history there a little bit, is fitness is very inclusive at the beginning levels. Fitness has its own problems, and don't get me wrong, it's not the be it end all. But like jujitsu and other things I've gotten involved in over the years, karate, all these different avenues, they want to get you in. They want to indoctrinate you into it. They're excited to have you. Shit, my jiu-jitsu people every weekend, they're like, we have this event. We'd love to have you, John. Please come. And you know me, how I am with people. I'm like, fuck, no, I ain't going. I'm hiding. But they're so inclusive. And even fitness, like, bro, you want to come work out? Come work out. You know, I've told Sam 50 times, you know, you want to come work out? Come work out. You want to participate?
I'm dodging John. I just don't feel like it.
But, you know, and that's fine. But, you know, it's very open and inviting. You know, I think this industry, at least inwardly facing, carries too much of a culture around with it of, we're good, you're not. Buy us, don't buy anybody else. And I just hate that mentality.
Right.
It's very ancient and it's very tired. So I love what you're doing. Guns.com, Wiseman Company, the content. I think you're going to do fantastic stuff. I'm excited to see what you and Ben do, and I'm always following the journey. As busy as I get, when I hear from you or you call, I'm a call away. I love it. I'm always keeping tabs on the East Coast guys. I'm happy to have you out here in so many different ways to give us feedback on what we're doing out here, because knowing you're a guy that has his ear to the street, you pay attention, you sift through the bullshit, and you see things pretty clearly. And you're one of the few guys I'll say, if Noah sees it that way, then it's probably true, or it's probably accurate. And there's not a lot of people I say that about. But, you know, similar to Branch and some of the people I keep around me, I appreciate the honesty when you give it. And I know it's hard to pry a negative thing out of you. You're one of those guys, but I'm not one of those guys. So,
Unless it's about...
yeah. So here's the thing. I think you're going to kill it. Can you give us some insight into what you'll be working on next year? Any exclusives?
Yeah, so we have an updated pocket tool that is coming.
You heard it here first.
And I'm pretty excited. Some of the things that we've been asked for on the Wise Guy should hopefully make it into this. Things like a window breaker and a pocket clip. That's about all I'm going to give you right now. But we have a prototype that we have done, and it's in the testing phase right now. Hopefully we can get that rolling. We were hoping to have it for Christmas this year, but I don't know that's going to happen, unfortunately. Our manufacturing guy, he lost a couple of employees, and things kind of got backed up a little bit. And so
you mean good stuff takes time?
So,
no way.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yep.
You mean you want to do it right?
No. Oh, yes. I mean, yes.
You know, I mean, people are like, what the fuck? You
No,
know?
I really like selling crappy products
Yeah,
to people for as much money as possible.
When can we have it? We want it now. I think hearing your story about the logo and the soft goods and everything, I think you could do so much more in that space now, hearing that story, and I think that's a story you should put out there more. I'm going to say that. I think you should tell that story, because I believe that logo definitely endeared me to it right away, for sure, especially those frosty nips. Yeah. So head out there, guys. Head out to Wiseman Company. Support them. You can use my code, Bartolo, with a capital B, if you want to get a discount, but check these guys out on YouTube, too. We didn't harp on the review stuff, and I know you touched on it in the R&D stuff, but they're doing tons of R&D and tons of reviews on everything you can think of, all kinds of different products, and they're giving you insight into how stuff is reviewed. And one thing they do and they're doing everything they can to document them for people to listen to pay attention, to watch, giving a lot of insight, actually, into how the review process is done. And I know Tim does something similar over at Military Arms. It's a little different, different system, but pay attention. So head over to Wiseman Company on YouTube. There it is. Check it out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool reviews up there. I've watched many of them. I know you're going to be putting a lot more content up there this year coming, and look at all that.
Yeah, we got the new series we just started, Viable or Not. That's pretty fun. We're doing a whole bunch of things like, is a 5-shot revolver. That's the one that's up there right now. We have some more coming. I don't want to spoil it, but like, is a 5-shot revolver still viable as a self-defense tool?
What's the answer?
Well, that's the question. I don't know.
Damn.
Is
It's
that a 640? Is that a 6? Yeah.
646 Pro
Oh.
Series, I think.
I've got a 640-1. It was a law enforcement trade-in.
Well,
It's a cool revolver.
So I carry model 37. That's
Yeah.
the question. Is it
Wow.
still viable?
the 19L. See a 19L up there.
Yeah. Ben actually did that. He loves that.
Yeah.
See the new one from Polymer 80. It's basically that concept.
Yeah.
The CO. Yeah. Yep.
So check it out. I love all his reviews. I love the way that the style in which they do their reviews. So check out Wiseman Company. And I've always valued your insight. Having you on's been really awesome. Having you out here has been great.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Spending the time. I know you had your.
I felt like I was going to be the smallest guy ever on the show. I thought maybe I should like stuff balloons in my shirt. So I
We had a
could look
couple. We had a couple girls on that were small.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know. But I appreciate it, and thank you guys on YouTube. I was trying to keep up with some of the questions on there. Fantastic.
Sure. Diesel has a question there about flying well.
That's what I'm trying to see.
I'm not sure which product he's
Probably the wise guy. I know
So-
you get that a lot, right?
Yeah. So there, one thing that I found out is there is no like actual. I was going to try and get it certified by the TSA, but there is no actual certification. So I've flown with mine a lot, and then just this past August, I flew through the Fayetteville airport, and they confiscated it.
Because they'd like to make up more regulations at the security checkpoint
so
to keep you on your toes.
Everybody, that's the thing with TSA. There's no standard.
You never know.
You never know.
I've had mags confiscated. I've had barrels
cigarette
confiscated. I've had it
Wise
all.
guy.
Usually they're pretty guys. In just my 2 cents on the TSA, while we're on that topic, usually they're pretty cool with you. I'm sure they're pretty cool with you. You know, if you get in that situation, don't, if it's something you can part with, don't fight for your stuff. You'll get in trouble. They'll usually give you an opportunity to go put it in your luggage, or they'll give you an opportunity. I usually say to the guys, because I'm in the business, hey, when they bring an officer over or something, hey, do you get to keep it? And they're like, I'm like, well, if you just want to take it and you get to keep it, take it.
Yeah.
And they're like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. Like there's times I've had mag extensions, stuff like that, and I'm like, it's not a big deal, man. I'll get more. You want to try to avoid getting into a jam in that space, so definitely not a good thing.
And looking at the
you want to make
website,
your flight.
I need to make some updates to photographs on our website.
They look great.
Some of that stuff is old photographs, man.
Yeah,
But look at that. See that photo right there? That's like a cell phone photo, like on
Circa iPhone 2.
So that one with the flashlight. Literally, Chris Moon took that on his front porch.
You took that photo with an iPod. Are those still a thing? The iPods still exist?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think Instagram is down right now.
No way.
It's not loading anything right now. It's weird.
It could be the network.
here. Yeah.
So,
It's probably everybody going to subscribe to my stuff. They crashed it.
yeah. Shameless plugs. Tell everybody where they can find you, how they can follow up with you and Ben, and tell companies how they can reach out to you for follow-up.
So, can always be reached through the website and email. Both Ben and I's email is pretty straightforward. It's my name at wisemancompany.com or ben@wisemancompany.com. Or if you want to get both of us, you can send it to info@wisemancompany.com. We're pretty complicated that way. But we are on Instagram at wise_men_company. We are also on the Facebooks, if you still so desire to go that route, as Wiseman Company. We're on Twitter too, believe it or not, also as, imagine this, Wiseman Company. And then YouTube, just search for Wiseman Company. We'd love to have you over there. That's a big one for us. We're really close to hitting that 10,000 subscriber mark, and love to get over that this year. So if you get a chance, would really appreciate that. And then me personally, if you want to follow my stuff, it's just N Alkinburgh on
Alkinburgh.
Alkinburgh. And people are always like, "What in the world is like what kind of screen?" I'm like, "That's actually
What's
my
an
name.
Alkinburgh?
That's actually my name. It's Noah Alkinburgh." I've been using that since the days, ready for this, of AIM.
Oh, wow. That was your
Whoa.
AIM screen
That
name?
was my AIM screen name.
You're showing your age.
I know.
I had an AIM screen name. I don't even tell you what it was back in the day.
And you know,
That's what I met on MySpace.
so and then obviously the PTR Media Group. We'd love to have you over there. That's still growing. This is the first place that we've even really
Plugged it.
announced that. So.
Yeah, head over there, guys. Throw them a bone. PTR Media Group on IG. Let's help them build that up a little bit. And I know the brokers are working diligently to kind of build that up. So toss them a follow. I'm gonna after the show and throw them a
Pine
share.
Tree Riot.
So I thank you.
Yeah,
coming
thank
out.
you.
I appreciate having you. It was great having you tour the building. I know we're going to cut a couple of spots after this. I definitely want to do a couple little review type videos with you because I love working with you. I have through the years. It's an honor to have you out in my building and have you spend some time with the crew and talk to them. I know the team enjoyed it. And your friendship through the years, dealing with me professionally, personally, has not gone unnoticed. I really, really thank you.
So I want to end real quick just with how I remember meeting you the first time, person to person, and
But I'm a scumbag.
yeah, I was. It was one of those I'm not a big fan just like you were talking about. Like I see people like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I'm not like, oh man, I want to get a photo with this guy. Oh, I can't wait. Like I come home from shows all the time, and I'm like, man, I really probably should have got a picture with so and so. But so I see John, I'm like, I think that's John Bartolo. I think.
Oh, my God.
I did. I'm like, Ben, is that John Bartolo over there at the breakthrough? He's like, yeah, I think it is. I'm like, oh man, I think I'm gonna go say hi. So I walk over and I'm like, are you John Bartolo? Yeah. Like, I'm Noah from Wiseman Company. And oh man, you guys make the coolest pocket tool. I've been looking at that. I'm like, you talking about the Wise guy? He's like, yeah, I've been ask these guys. I've been wanting to get one for a while. So I'm like, all right. So I walked over, I grabbed one. I'm like, there you go. And
Is it the Great American Outdoor Show?
This is Great American Outdoor Show. And the next day, John
See,
comes,
that show's not all that bad, John.
So the next day, John comes up to me, and literally, I just gave it to him. That's one of my favorite things about owning a company. I love I know that sounds weird, like just giving away my stuff, but I enjoy it. And John comes up to me and he goes, hey, just want to say thank you because that's the first time that I can remember in a really long time that someone gave me something and didn't ask me for something in return. I get people all the time who send me stuff and want me to take photos with it. They want me to pump their, they want me to, rep their brand or get people to follow them. And I can't tell you how nice it was to have someone give me something and actually just give it to me. And I was like, yeah, man, I just thought you liked it. I had the opportunity. I'm not looking for anything from you. I hope you enjoy your pocket tool.
It was really funny because I had someone one time, and kind of leading into that, I had actually Jeremy from Dark Alliance. He'll remember the story like it was yesterday. This is like when I was starting out, so he did a couple guns for me, and someone would at him, oh, Bartolo, he asks for free stuff all the time, and this was on social media, and it's a well-known person, I'll tell you, Sam. And Jeremy goes, actually, bro, he paid for his stuff. You didn't. And it was a person that ran a foundation or some bullshit. So, it was like one of those things that I just get a kick out of because, I always try to return the favor. And if anybody knows me well enough, they know that these people that come out here that are my friends that come on this podcast or come out and visit the facility, and I have a really great friend coming out next weekend that's redoing our gun room, actually. And I think my team gets a taste of it. They're not coming out because I'm a fucking asshole. They're not coming out and spending time with me because I'm a douchebag. They're coming out and spending time because I've done a lot for a lot of people around this business. And I try to do as much as I can for anybody that needs help, needs a plug. And those of you that know even why I began doing the Freedom Broker thing, it was to give small businesses a plug. And you were there. And I was doing that. It was to just help some small businesses out. People that come to me, and I'm not in the business I told them, and Alpha, Omega, Kydex, a couple other guys on there, and a few other guys in the thing will tell you. I said, I don't want to touch your product. I don't want it in my hand. I'm not going to ship it. You ship it directly to them. Because there's a lot of guys out there that get in that giveaway game and get in everything, and then you send the product to them, and I don't know what happens to it. I don't want that responsibility. No. So I try to be as above board and painfully honest with people as humanly possible. So I appreciate you sharing that story, because it means a lot, and it gives people insight into me. You know, I don't need more stuff. Anyone who knows me or has been around me,
Never before has a true statement been like that.
He tried to pay me for it, and
I think I tried to give you a 50 if I remember the story correctly, or something like that.
I just knew that it's one of the things, and hopefully that reflects a lot about who Ben and I are.
Oh my God!
As well, because that's who we are. Like, if you like it and you want to take some pictures with it, awesome.
Yeah.
If you don't, not a problem. We don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think one of the big things with this podcast is to create an experience for a lot of my friends that have done tremendously well and have been successful in this business, and give them a part of the experience and have them enjoy the journey with me. And I know that you have the last couple of days, and you will for the next.
You bet.
So I appreciate having you. You're a true friend, and I'm going to kick it over to Sam for final thoughts. And I would really appreciate it if all you guys on YouTube and everybody else would share this. Please give this a share. Please head over to our podcast on iTunes. We have a new one up that's audio only. I need your help, Frank. I need your help from everybody over here on the thread to help get some reviews under that. We're trying to grow that space out. I know we'll have a couple contests coming, but you guys will be automatically entered, of course. So please head over to the podcast. We're closing in on 200 reviews. I need a few more reviews there. But I'm going to throw it over to Sam for final thoughts and housekeeping and sponsors.
Yeah, man. Hey, again, I know John already said it a lot, but I want to extend my thanks and gratitude to Noah for coming out and spending some time here and really asking a lot of really awesome questions and getting a good idea of what we do here. And it just shows that you respect what we have going on. So I really, really appreciate that. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching the show today. We want to thank our sponsors, of course, Kenzie's Optics, 221B Tactical, Mark Bell's Slingshot, Bang Energy, VPX Sports, and Chick-fil-A Kalispell. Those guys make every episode happen and make this whole media machine churn forward. So thanks a lot to those guys and for checking out the show today. Like John said, I'll echo that. Leave us a review on the iTunes podcast. If you consume this content through a different distribution channel, leave a review on that channel as well. Head over to BehindTheFlame.com for all things podcast related, as well as links related to our show guests, giveaways we've been doing, different places you can find this show in both video and audio formats. We want to I want to thank everyone for watching this show. We really appreciate it. It means a lot. And we will check you all next week. We're going to have a show with our guest next week, correct? Possibly. All right. So we'll see you guys next time on Behind the Flame.